All right, thanks everyone for taking your time to join tonight's session. Tonight we'll be concentrating on DevOps. Those that wants to transition to DevOps, that's what we'll be focusing on today. But before we get started, I will tell you about myself, about the company, and I have a few slides to share with you. I'll go through that. Then after that, call on the facilitator to shed more light into the journey, the life of a DevOps engineer, what you need to know and all of that. Then finally, we'll open the line for any questions and answer that you may have at the end of the session. So for every question, we'll be more than happy to provide an answer to every question at the end of the session. So you can raise your hand. I'll ask you to unmute to ask your questions, or you can drop your question on the chat as well. But it will be fun and interesting for you to raise your hand to have a conversation together. All right. So let's get started. My name is Akin Oladeji, and I happen to be the founder of Learn with Pride. Learn with Pride is an IT organization based in the UK. And what we do is we help those that wants to transition from non-IT background or non-technical background into the IT space. So we run different IT trainings ranging from project management, Scrum Master, product owner, product manager, software testing, DevOps engineer, web development, just to mention a few. But tonight we are concentrating on DevOps. Why we are different is we focus on what you need to know to secure your first job. So all the necessary things. So we focus on practicals, you know. If you enroll on this journey, I can tell you 80% of it, 90% of it will be practical based, right? And you get your hands dirty and all of that. All right. So about myself, I transitioned as well. My background was in accounting and finance. I got tired. I stumbled on software automation engineer. I embarked on a 3-month journey back then as well. And to cut the whole long story short, I transitioned from a non-technical background into a very technical space. But that can only be accomplished with hard work. Nothing good comes easy. You need to be ready to sacrifice your time, energy, sleep, into the process every single day for the duration of the program. That is when and only when you'll be able to compete with those who has been doing it in the industry for the last 2, 3 years, right? So that is about myself. So the whole Learn with Pride today started from my transitioning journey, after I transitioned, and it's all story today. So that is about me. But the company has been going strong for over 4 years now. And over that 4 years, we've enrolled more than 20,000 students that's passed through this academy over that 4 years period. We'll be looking at the stats as we go on as well. So that is a bit about myself, a bit about the company. All right. So why are people making the move now to IT? Why is IT or tech jobs, the next crude oil? You know, it's all because I think it's in tech and tech alone that you can get, the kind of family work balance that you want, the kind of flexibility that you want. You might want to take your kids to school, do school runs, take your car to the mechanic, and I'm talking during the week, and you can be able to do all those things. Why? Because, you can be working and, maybe on your phone. When you're attending meetings on your phone, you can go anywhere you want to go, right? You have the ability to be able to work remotely as well. And also, it doesn't matter the location you are, whether you live in Africa, you live in Asia, you live in Europe, it doesn't matter, because after acquiring the skills and knowledge, you should be able, to start applying for remote jobs, outside your country, outside, your country of residence. So take, for example, you might you're living in Nigeria, you can start applying for jobs in countries like Malta, UK. You can live in Ghana, apply for jobs, in the UK, in the US. So the sky is the beginning. But the key things that has to be done is you need to acquire the right skills, the right knowledge. You need to be mentored, support, and after you get all those things, you can get your feet at the door. And when you get your feet at the door, that doesn't mean learning has stopped. No, because there's no way you can cover the whole of DevOps in 4, 6, 1 year, 2 years. No, that is why the course is a master class. It concentrates on what you need to know for you to be able to secure your very first job. That is what we concentrate on. So we don't beat around the bush. We concentrate on what matters on the journey. So that is that about DevOps. So I've got a few slides to share with you before I call on the facilitator to talk more on the journey itself. All right, so I'm going to be using UK as a point of reference because that is where we are. If you're looking at the UK, the average, salary when you're considering a DevOps, you'll be looking around 60, 65,000. But if you are going for a contract role, from contract role, you can get £400 a day, £500 a day, £600 a day. It all depends. But take, for example, you are getting £400 a day, that is £8,000 a month. Even if the contract is for 6 months, that is a lot of money. And some people will wonder, why would companies want to come to Africa or Asia, to recruit people as well? It's because they are trying to cut costs as well. To them, they think they are saving money. Take, for example, they don't want to pay £500 or $500 to someone maybe that lives in the US, right? But they know if they go to Africa, let's use Nigeria as an example, they can get, someone there experience as well for $150 a day. $150 a day in Nigerian money now, I believe, should be over 200,000 naira. So if you are getting 200,000 naira per day, I'm not saying per month, if you're getting 200,000 naira per day, that is a win-win for both parties. One party would think, you know what, we are looking for a cheap service. But at the other end as well, it's equally a good pay for you to be getting 200,000 naira or even over 200,000 naira per day. Now considering how much that would be, in a month. So that is the possibility, that is the potential, you can open yourself to after acquiring the right skills and knowledge. And that is why, we put the training together to focus on what matters, what you need to know, to secure your very first job, regardless of your country of residence. All right. Another advantage is, you can work remotely from anywhere in the world. I said it as well. It doesn't matter your country, where you live, you know, Nigeria, Ghana, Zimbabwe, South Africa, it doesn't matter. What matter is you getting the skill, you getting the knowledge, you getting the know-how. Because it's the know-how that you are going to convince the recruiters with. That yes, I know how to do this job. And these are the instances where I've done it in the past. You can give them examples, real examples, not what you read online. No, that is what will set you apart. And on this journey alone, you'll be exposed to more than 14 industry standard tools on this journey. I'm sure Michael will be talking more on that when he start talking more about DevOps. Another advantage is in high demand, right? Since after COVID, tech jobs are more in demand. Most companies are looking for a DevOps engineer, especially those in that deals with software. They need a DevOps engineer. And that is why I know some people doing two jobs together. Why? Because there's not enough people to take these roles. That is why they are doing two jobs. And again, because you are not restricting yourself to just the UK market alone. Someone in the UK can look for a job in the US, in Australia. You are not restricting yourself. It's a global world, and you don't have to be physically there before you perform your role. That is why we call it remote jobs. You are working at the comfort of your home and you are getting real well paid. What more can you ask for? You know. So yes, that is that. Anyway, let's move on because of our time. If you are to come on the journey, what's the roadmap? What's it going to be like? Let's take a look at that quickly. So the training, I haven't corrected that. So it's no longer a 4-month training. Now it's a 6-month training. That needs to be corrected. It used to be 4 months. So it will be a 6-month training that will run rather twice a week, every Mondays and Wednesdays from 7:30 UK time to 9:30 p.m. UK time. And all sessions are recorded as well. So that is the training. Also, as the training is going on as well, you've been exposed to different projects as well. Right. So that will be the next one on the slide, which is project. You'll be exposed to project again for the duration of the program, which will be 6 months as well. Then after the project, after you are done with the program, now you've gone through the training, you've gone through the project, you know how to do few things, you can confidently say, you know what, I'm a DevOps engineer or AWS, blah, 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 you know, but you are not getting calls. You start applying for jobs, you are not getting calls. You'll be wondering what is going on. The thing is, if you are not visible in the market, if recruiters cannot see you, then there's no way you can get a job. Please give me 1 second. 1 second, please. Yeah, sorry about that. I just need to control my kids. All right. So you're wondering you are not getting calls. You are not getting calls because you are not visible in the market. And if you are not visible in the market, there is no way the recruiters or employers can see you. That is why optimization of your brand is very, very important. You know, you need to be visible. And what will make you visible is your CV, is your online presence. What will give you that online presence? That will be your CV, your revamped CV. That will be your LinkedIn profile. You have to be on LinkedIn as well. It has become the most popular place that recruiters and employers now go to add on for professionals. So you have to be in that space as well. If you're if you're applying for international roles as well, you need to revamp your CV to international standards. That is very, very important as well. When you get this stage right, what I do tell my student is, you know what? The job will come, but before the job comes, you need to get the calls first. When you are getting the calls, that is a green light. Because when you are getting calls, surely they will be putting you forward for interviews. When you are going for interviews, then you can be rest assured that you are going to land one of those interviews. But when everything is dead, no calls, nothing, your CV is just there, nobody's calling you, then something is wrong somewhere. That has to be fixed as soon as possible, you know? So it is very important, very, very important for you to revamp, for you to be visible, for you to optimize your brand, to the level that will make you to be visible as well. These are all the things that we'll be talking about or we'll be exposing you to on the journey itself, when you join the program itself. All right, let's move on. Then after you optimize your brand, then you start applying for jobs. Not only apply for jobs, recruiters, companies, they will start to see you online. They will reach out to you. Oh, I saw your profile on LinkedIn. Are you still in the market? You know, things like that. Also, when you upload your CVs to job sites and make them searchable, it is very important for you to make your CV searchable. When you make your CV searchable, then, you know, as you're applying manually, um, recruiters are reaching out to you as well to say, you know what, we saw your CV on so job site. Are you still in the market? Are you available for a quick chat? Just to go through the role. Things like that are what you are expecting, are what you want to be getting, because when you are getting that, it is certain that you'll be getting interviews, and from interviews, you surely land one as well. So yes, that is that. And when you finally get shortlisted for interview, this is another important stage that we assist with as well, interview preparation. Um, so we assist you because it's not only about you coming on the journey for the sake of coming on the journey. We care so much about our students, and we want the best for each and every one of them, because we know if you are able to land that role, someone somewhere is going to ask you that, how did you do it? And you will be able to say, you know what, I did my training with so people, so people. You can refer us. That is the joy, at the end of it, you being able to land the role. So when it comes to interview preparation, we do that with you as well. We prep you so that you can go into that interview with full confidence. While talking on this point, let me just make mention of other benefits that is attached to the journey as well when you enroll. So you get the practical training, you get to work on projects, you get mentorship, the support, interview preparation. Um, Also, all our courses are CPD accredited, meaning you get all our courses meet the professional standard, and the certificate that you get from us is recognized in over 60 countries. And finally, we give you a work reference for the duration that you are with us as well. So those are the benefits that is attached. Well, having said that, it is more than that again, because what we are trying to create here is a community. It is just not you enrolling on the program. After 6 months, we say bye-bye to you and that is over. No, we have a separate group. We have a separate group that, focus on how things are going on how things are working out, with the student in terms of the interviews, their challenges and all of that. So on that sessions alone, we do older session like twice a month, separate from your training days, to go through, the challenges, motivations, bringing people that has gone through the training, to come and give a talk, learning new things on the session as well. It is a very, very, because at the end of the day, when you secure this role and you don't have a backbone, if you rely so much on your facilitator that your facilitator will be there for you all the time, it might not be so. When you need him the most, maybe you are stuck at work and you're trying to call him, he's not picking up because maybe he's busy with his work as well. What are you going to do? What are you going to fall back on? That is why you need like-minded people. You need community that you can fall back on. And that is what we are building. You don't need to rely solely on your facilitator. You can easily go on the group and type out your challenge, what you are facing, and someone on that group that has gone through similar things in the past as well can put you through. You need people at your corner. You need you know you need people to guide you, those who has done it, to guide you as well. It's like a boxing match. They always have people at their corner, like their coach. You need someone like that as well, when you are transitioning, you know, and that is part of what you'll be getting on the journey. So the journey doesn't end after 6 months, you know, it continues because you still belong on that platform. as long as you want, So we are on the journey together. When you are ready to take, the next step of enrolling, we are going to walk the walk together. We are not going to leave you hanging. That is why, as you can see from the slide, it used to be 4-month program, but we've extended it to 6 months because we want you to get the best value for your money. We want every single thing to be covered so that you can go out there with confidence. Right. So then what comes next after so we support with interview preparation, as I've made mention earlier on as well. So that is that. So quickly, let's go through the start. This needs to be updated. As I said, Ayokunle, no, the actual training is not free. Ayokunle Thompson, no. All right, so since 2020 till date, till 2020, from 2020 till date, over 20,000 students has enrolled as in all our courses. This is last year, but it's not even updated yet, just to show the enrollment we've had last year. We take all questions at the end of the session, so just bear with me. You can raise your hand, just bear with me till the end of the session. All in all, since onset till date, 85% of our students are working, 50% in public, 35% in private, and 15% are job ready. I'm going to get there soon. I'm going to get to the charging soon. Please just bear with me. So that is the start of the company. All right, and these are the jobs I got online as well. This is a contract role, and you can see it's a remote job as well. For a DevOps engineer, 12-month contract, they are paying 650 to 700 pounds a day. Let's just say 600 pounds a day. That is 1,200 pounds per month, give or take. It's more than that anyway. 700 pounds will be 1,400 pounds per month. What am I saying? 700 pounds will be 14,000 pounds per month. Sorry. So you are getting 700 pounds per day. That will be 14,000 pounds per month. And the contract is 12 months. Simply just multiply 14,000 times 12. That is what you'll be getting. That is what you'll be getting for the 12-month contract. So let's check the other one out. So this one is a permanent role. AWS is part of what will be covered as well. This one is paying up to 80,000 pounds per annum. You completing a 6-month training and you're able to get this, that is more than a win-win for everyone. Because even in the UK itself, the average salary of majority, I can say 60% of people living in the UK, their average salary is between 18,000 pounds and 35,000 pounds. I can easily say that. And you completing a 6-month journey, you are getting 80,000 pounds. You are getting 400 pounds a day, 500 pounds a day. That is a win-win. Before we get to the next level, sometimes we need to invest in ourselves. Nothing good comes easy, and nothing good comes free as well. I could see someone typing on the chat that is it free? If you are getting a free training, you won't be getting all these additional services that we are offering. They won't have your time. You won't get the value because there's no money attached to it. It is free, you know. So if you want the best quality, you need to, you need to pay for it for you to be able to get the best you want out of the service as well. All right. So as I said, it's a 6-month training. So the cost for the 6-month training, the actual cost for the 6-month training is £1,199. But for those on the session today, you'll be getting 40% discount. So that will make it £720. And this can be payable twice as well. You can start with half payment and the other half can be paid within 6 to 8 weeks after you've started. Right. So as I made mention earlier on as well, these are some of the benefits, some of the things that you'll be getting: full training, live project, interview preparation, CPD accredited certificate, mentorship support, and UK reference as well. We give you a work reference for the duration that you are with us as well. The next cohort will be starting on the 26th of February. And for the cohort that will be starting on the 26th of February, as it is right now, we have 14 slots available for the cohort that will be starting on the 26th. The 40% discount is available till the 19th of February, and it will go back to the normal price. After the 19th of February, it will go back to the full price. We try as much as possible to make it cheap for everyone. Uh, I'm sure most people on this call, you must have done your due diligence by, reaching out to other organizations as well. You can never get DevOps training as cheap as this anywhere. You can never. I can beat my chest to that as well. We are trying to make it as cheap, as affordable as possible, and for you to get the best quality, best service out of it as well. And your journey doesn't end after 6 months as well. So that is the offer on ground for those who are interested. These are just the account details. If you want to take a screenshot, you can. Or if you are interested and you want to take advantage of the 40% discount before the 19th of this month, the best number to message for enrollment will be the WhatsApp number that you are seeing on the screen right now. So you can take a screenshot of the WhatsApp number. You can save the number on your phone, but if you want to enroll, that will be the best number for you to contact for enrollment. And I think that is where I'm going to be stopping for now. But quickly again, let me just make mention for those in Nigeria, for those that live in Lagos, Nigeria, April 6th this year, we are having a tech conference in Nigeria, in Lagos. So if you are interested in that, if you want to come on board and learn more about all this tech, transitioning tech from industry standard expert, as you can see on your screen as well, you can go on our website. Please, admin, you can drop the summit URL on the chat for anyone that wants to go there and register for the tech event. It's happening on the 6th of April this year. You are more than welcome. If you go on the website, you see other benefits that is attached to you coming on board on that day as well. So those are for people who are interested and who lives in Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria at the moment as well. You can take the advantage of that as well. All right. So this is where I'm going to be saying thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for, enduring with me as well. So for now, I'm going to be pausing and I'm going to be inviting Michael, who is going to take you on the journey to shed more light into the life of a DevOps engineer, what it entails and the things, that you need to know, before you make your informed decision. So for now, I'm going to be pausing and I'm going to be saying, goodbye for now. I'll see you soon. Michael, over to you. Thanks. See you soon.
You. Good evening, everybody. How are we
Yeah,
all doing today?
yeah, good evening.
Okay, thank you so much, Aki. I've not done this in a while, trying to convince people or get people to understand what DevOps is. I actually spend much of the time teaching DevOps. So I'm not so used to explaining what DevOps is. I'd rather teach it. But it's a good thing, particularly when we're considering the fact that there are a whole lot of you out there that are really considering the option of transitioning. It's normal, it's typical transitioning. Okay, opening up options or making options available, for ourselves, in a very competitive marketplace globally. And as it is, tech roles, tech skills are high in demand. Tech skills are high in demand. In fact, More than 90, let's say there's virtually no industry right now where there's no tech infusion, from agri to medical to finance to name it. You can hardly mention any industry where there's no tech infusion. Means if you're not considering a tech angle to what you're doing, you're going to be run out of business within the shortest possible time. So industries are leveraging on tech. AI is fast, getting into the market. There's the talk that AI is going to take jobs from a lot of people, but point is AI is not going to take jobs from people that deploy AI. Okay, it means as a techie, you are at the back end. Okay, and there are specific roles that put you in that position to be one of those that in the near future will be deploying back end applications, monitoring AI applications also. All the whole angles from which you can think of AI. DevOps is typically one of them because from infrastructure to actual building application and deploying those same application, DevOps really comes into play. So much of what we're going to be doing today, within the 30 minutes or thereabout that I have, I pray I can quickly make good use of the time, is basically try to introduce you to DevOps. What is DevOps? Let me see if I'm allowed to share. Uh, okay, yeah, I have a slide. I'll try as much as possible. Okay, good. So I have a slide, DevOps. Don't mind me, I might not so much of a PowerPoint person. I use other tools, as you get to find out about me shortly. DevOps, that is the conversation. What are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about DevOps. What problems will DevOps help me solve? That means what is going to make me valuable? What value am I bringing on board? Because people bring you on board because you're going to be helping them solve problems. And then again, how do I get started? What mistakes am I going to avoid? Okay, so before I go any further, let me quickly introduce myself. I have a LinkedIn profile. My name is Michael. Hi, Tanu Michael. I'm a certified project management professional. I'm a DevOps, close to 8 years experience. We're talking of about 10 years as a build and release engineer, then over 20 years in system administration and network systems and network administration, over 20 years. It means I've practically been a techie all my life. So the beauty of it is that it helps me to manipulate around tech conversations, okay? You can basically apply knowledge in one area to just about every other aspect of the broader tech conversation. So for me, DevOps is more recent, but it's been long-standing, and also over 15 years data analysis, um, Excel, SQL, Power BI, and all that. That's a topic for another day, but I am a DevOps engineer, and we are going to be talking DevOps. At the end of the day, why DevOps? Where is DevOps coming from? I don't know. I want to assume a whole lot of us already have some background in tech. Okay. I want to assume we have some background in tech where we are already familiar with certain concepts like information technology, infrastructure, learning, and terms like that, uh, infrastructure library, I mean, that have helped over time to make managing software environments easy. Managing software environment is supposed to be an easy task, but the challenge that has always been behind such is that, the challenge behind such is that between developing a software application and having it run in the market, there's a whole lot that goes in between. We're going to see that shortly. There's a whole lot that goes in between because once the product is in the market, it doesn't end there. In fact, within the shortest possible time, even you, just like your mobile application, you have feedback. Whether you have somebody to push that feedback to or not, it doesn't change the fact that you have feedback. There are issues. Login doesn't work. The user interface is poor. You can't do this. You can't do that. There's a bug, there's a feature that is not functioning properly. It is endless. Then again, there might be specific demand, maybe based on a competitor's uh, outlook to the same kind of application. And your users are like, oh, why don't we have this? Why don't we have that? So maybe user demand, market demand, industry demand on a regular basis. On a regular
Oh,
basis,
sorry.
there are always there's always the requirement or there's always the need for regular, constant update to any live application you have there in the market. But then again, the guys that are operating these applications, right, don't understand tech language. That is where operations, right, differs from development. When you talk of development, you're talking of developers, programmers, the guys that actually write the code from which these softwares applications are deployed. But there are constant, what we call silos, a whole loop, a whole, gigantum of nothingness happening. And the response time between a complaint and actual changes or modification to the market application is like an eternity of waiting. It has always been the case. Tools and system knowledge, such as ITIL, that is infrastructure, information technology, infrastructure library, and there's another one called management processes, that's ITSP. These are, knowledge areas that have come to help, then Agile also, for those of us that are familiar with project management, Agile also has helped as against traditional or what we call waterfall, conventional project management, which, as far as software application environments are concerned, are not too friendly because of the scope in terms of time. It's very time consuming and all that. Requirements take a lot to put together. For those of us that might be familiar with traditional or waterfall project management, it has not really helped over time. Lean methodologies and all that. I can't be going into all of that. But between ITIL, Agile, Lean, there's been a whole lot of transition. The concept of DevOps actually is meant to fast track between development and operation, right? The time a complaint is logged, between the time between when a complaint is logged and the time it actually takes developers or programmers at the back end to write and update code and push that code into the live application such that it might even be while you are asleep. Might even be while you are asleep. Such updates are pushed into your application library or your application market or store, or automatically update as the case might be without you even noticing. You just probably wake up one morning and, oh, the app has changed, the Outlook has changed, the user experience has changed, the user interface has changed. No, maybe based on different feedbacks from these different, parts of the market or aspects of, the market we've enumerated earlier. But point is, there has always been a silo getting this done, and it has always taken forever. Particularly where there's a disconnect between those managing operations. Take customer service, for instance. You're calling customer service, you have an issue with the application. They can only log it and push it to the appropriate department. And of course, we know it's at the end of the day, it's going to end up on the development team desk. So at the end of the day, there's a mix-up in terms of language. And even by the time the guys really understand what operations is trying to say, we've lost a lot of time. They're trying to build it at the same time, push it back again. It now becomes very essential or very necessary to have a go-between. A go-between. DevOps came to be sometime around 2009, 2010, where you have Patrick Dubois and Bayet. They came around with the concept, trying to put tools together that kind of automates these processes. It automates these processes such that and for instance, applications develop bugs. It is one thing to develop code for an application, build an artifact into it, and push that application into the market. But from the moment an application begins to work, right, it is different from testing. Users begin to engage the application. Every vulnerability that was probably not detected during testing or quality assurance starts to come up. An application practically is more vulnerable when it is live than when it is probably being tested or developed. And what DevOps does in this case is that it also helps to detect these vulnerabilities, these bugs, even before users do. So we're going to be learning tools. We're going to be learning processes that automate these entire processes such that you don't notice anything. The only thing that needs to be done is probably push the log, document what is wrong. We're going to see a whole lot of how this process works, okay? But it is agile. DevOps is agile. We're also going to be looking at having an overview of how Scrum works, which is also an approach to the agile methodology, okay? DevOps is not just a methodology on its own, even where it is akin to Scrum, which is an agile methodology. It is what you might want to call a culture. It is what you might want to call a culture. So like I said, what is the problem in a nutshell? Everything needs a software. We can't overemphasize that. Every market today requires a software. Think of that problem. A software is more likely to give you full maximization of the benefits that come with whatever that solution itself is. For every industry, there's med tech, there's agri tech, there's financial tech, everything. Right? AI is even making sandwiches and pizzas and burgers today as we speak. So at the end of the day, everything needs a software. Software runs on a server to become a service. So delivering a service from inception to its user is too slow and error prone. Frictions, communication between developers and DevOps come in here to make that, that lag, that delay it as in take as much of it off the entire process as possible. So as a DevOps, what you're going to be doing is managing the software development lifecycle. That's what you're going to do. I'm going to show you guys a diagram shortly. You're going to be managing the entire software development lifecycle. You're going to be learning as much as 15 to 18 different tools. You're going to be learning as much as 15 to 18 different tools. Okay, it's something I think DevOps is expected to become one of the most in demand. It's already, this is a conversation that probably 10 years ago, even as much as, let's 10 years is even too far. It started then, so it wasn't really much. But as far back as 5 years ago, DevOps was not so much of a conversation. But it is becoming in demand, on the increase, on the go every day. Akin took a little bit of time to enumerate that, but that is the truth. Software development needs to be managed. There are tools that take care of this. It brings a lot of transparency. It brings a lot of clarity into the development process such that even developers can't take you on a ride. They are forced to adhere to a process that puts them in a condition where they cannot but do their jobs. We're going to look at all of that. We're going to look at what you call version control. So DevOps in itself is expected to become one of the most in-demand IT industry jobs within the IT industry because, like I said, it didn't exist a few years ago, but right now it's been sought after, right? But the point is we need to understand DevOps further. So what it does is it combines software development and IT operations to shorten the development cycle. It shortens it. The whole idea of DevOps is to make software highly available and of high quality. A lot of us can imagine what a 10 minutes or 1 hour or worst case scenario, a 1 day downtime will cost to maybe Samsung, will cost Apple. We're talking of millions, hundreds of millions in revenue. They can't afford that. So they will rather pay somebody in between such that the tools you're going to be learning are meant to even track and detect, monitor, observe, track, and detect these issues before they even come up. And where you also have operations logging in these issues or feedbacks from the market or from users, they are also being taken, fed into an existing pipeline, and solutions are being provided on the go without any downtime. That is what DevOps does. As much as possible, I'm going to try to use a whole lot of layman language and all that, not get too technical as far as these explanations are concerned. But trust me, you're coming into a technical field. It's one thing we're also going to do is we're going to make it as simple as possible. You know, we're assuming that a whole lot of us are coming from backgrounds that are not too IT related. So we'll break it down. The sessions are structured in such a way. That's why at some point we decided to extend the time also. Ordinarily, we've tried to run this thing for 4 months, but we've discovered that we're actually crashing these conversations. And we don't, even where, yes, the feedback has been very positive, a whole lot of our alumni, they're coming back with positive feedback. They're confident enough to engage the market, the conversation and all that. But you can't help but feel that, hey, there could be more. There could be more because you really need, we have to really take time to break this thing down for you. But it also entails that a whole lot of the work is still going to fall back on you. A whole lot of the work is still going to fall back on you. So beyond the classes, right? Beyond the classes, it's going to, nobody's promising you that it's going to be a walk in the park. No. But as far as learning it is concerned, you will learn it, even if you're starting from scratch. The decision to transition into tech means you already understand the implication of what you want to do. So there's no tech course you're going to, even if it's, imagine you want to go into programming, Python, Java. That's a completely, DevOps is even more descriptive than trying to remember formulas or code and use syntax all the time. No, DevOps is even more friendly. So I don't want to imagine the fact that we are taking the decision to transition into tech and we don't know what we're coming up against. But point is, I can also assure you that we're going to simplify it as much as possible. We're going to break it down into simple English. We're also going to make sure that these tools, you understand them like you're learning Microsoft Word. I don't know if any of us can relate, but point is we're going to make sure you understand. For those of us, I want to assume a whole lot of us have basic system administration knowledge, right? And want to at least assume that. Even if you don't know so much of a computer, you do have a computer, you can put on your computer, you can open an application, right? Just like you open WhatsApp on your phone and you know how to navigate around the application. It is not far-fetched from that. What we're going to do is explain the entire concept and show you how the tools that the process needs work. Each and every individual tool. Okay, so what is DevOps itself? Let's attempt a definition at DevOps. It is a practice of operations and development engineers participating together in the entire service lifecycle, from design through development and production. When we say production, it means we are live. Design means building a framework for that application. It might just be a business case. We're going to talk about Scrum, right? The product owner comes and says, I need this product. I need this application. Guys that have that own most of our financial technology platforms today, our fintech platforms, it all started from concepts like this, from the idea written on paper. You discuss it with the development team. They help you put flesh into it. Development starts, actual coding. That is called development. From development, testing until you push and it becomes live in the market. We call that production. But even beyond production now, you also have production support, constantly logging feedback and acting on such logs where it is necessary for quick response. Most of the time, you don't even need to be physically on ground to handle these responses. You're going to also learn how to use tools that automate these responses and immediately notifies whoever needs to be notified, and issues are taken care of, fed back into your pipeline, and deployed back to address user needs. That is DevOps for you. If you understand that well enough, you know that it is a skill set that is not going anywhere anytime soon. Whether you're talking high-end artificial intelligence, talking basic IT deployments, it is not going anywhere. All the big names in tech today, they manage the software development cycle and they automate it. Everything you see around AWS, everything you see around Netflix, everything you see around name that application today, there is an automated back end that manages the entire process. It means the skill you're trying to get into, the skill cycle you're trying to get into right now is not going anywhere. So DevOps is also characterized by operations staffs making use of many or same techniques as developers for their system work. Let's see something else. Concepts we're going to be looking at. DevOps principle, DevOps practices, and DevOps tools. Okay, I'm going to try to run as fast as possible. Principles, 3 ways. If you're applying for a DevOps job, okay, apart from knowing these tools, one of the few things your recruiter wants to know is how well you think. In fact, much of what we're going to be pushing you to do, while we're also trying to make you understand how these tools work, is basic system thinking. Integrate. How do things connect? How do things connect? How do you manage issues? Troubleshooting, isolating problems, okay? When we talk about amplifying feedbacks, right? You identify a problem or a problem is logged. How do you manage it? Okay, isolating problems is not different from when you talk about a culture of continual experimentation. Taking out this, does this work? This doesn't work. It means, sorry to put it this way, once you start DevOps, right, you cannot leave DevOps. DevOps is a culture. It is a way of life that if you leave it, even for 1 week, it's going to leave you. If you leave it, it's going to leave you. So just like any other skill set, it doesn't end in the classroom. The moment it means you have decided that you want to take this journey and you're going to see it through. Because it's going to task you. It's going to require you being hands-on. It's actually going to require you getting your hands dirty. You have chosen a field, and before you can differentiate yourself in that field, because trust me, yes, it is in demand, but also the teams that want you on board also recognize the fact that there are 1,000,001 other people that also know what you do. What makes you different? It means you're trying to get into an already competitive market. That is why they will rather offer a guy that they are confident knows it well enough, right? Even if they know he or she is working on another gig, they rather offer that guy the same job, believing that he can juggle between their own brief and existing brief, rather than give it to you that they are not so sure. Okay, it means you need to know your onions. But point is, a culture of continual experimentation means you're going to be constantly hands-on. Okay? Culture, people, processes, tools. That's what we're going to be learning. Automation. I can't emphasize that. Look, that means things we are going to see how to do a lot of these things manually to start with, right? We're going to look at tools that help us achieve these things manually. 1, 2, 3. But we're also going to learn tools that makes everything, that's in, you just pour everything into one pot and it takes care of the rest. Automation. That means you are hands off. You don't have to be there. That is automation. That is human contact is reduced to barest minimum, almost practically zero. You're going to learn how to set up pipelines such that you don't have to be physically engaging the application to get things done. So we're going to learn how to set up pipelines. That's where automation comes in. We're going to learn how to also use automation tools. Okay, when we get to Docker, when we get to infrastructure as code using Terraform, configuration management, we're going to learn a whole lot of those tools. I'm going to show you the software development lifecycle in a bit. DevOps practices. We're going to learn version control. Version control is one of the first tools you're going to learn. And one thing it really does, apart from tracking changes in software development, raw code, right? It also means that as every client is entitled to access to their raw code, right? So we're going to teach you how to adopt that industry practice where access to raw code is available to you, even as a DevOps, such that even if you're changing any member of your team, you have your code with you. It's just a question of getting somebody that understands the same language, get on board the team. So you don't have the bottleneck, or you are not trapped down just because you lose a developer on your team. Version control system takes care of this. And developers are tasked with the responsibility of working because their work is transparently available to every other member of the team. So there's no point saying you're working when you're not working. So version control, we're going to learn GitHub for that. Automation testing, we're going to learn testing tools. There's manual software testing done manually and all that, but we're also going to learn an automated tool for testing within your pipeline. Monitoring, right? We're going to learn monitoring. We're going to see how Scrum, the agile process, integrates into all of what we're going to be doing. Change management, configuration management. I'm not going to go into any of those details. Sorry, my time is. But point is, at the end of the day, what we're looking at is service design, development, then transition, service transition, that is releasing, then operation, that is monitoring and control. If we now have issues during monitoring and control, we go back to service design, right? From service design, we push back into release. From release, we go back to operation. It is a continuous loop. We're going to see something quite similar to that also in a bit. But while all this is going on, our application is still live. Your job as a DevOps is to make sure that every point in time, there is zero downtime. So all the tools you're going to be learning are meant to automate this process. Trust me, it is possible and you're going to see it. It is possible and you're going to see it. So basically, one aspect we're going to look at is we're going to be looking at the fact that DevOps also allows you as a field itself, right? You don't necessarily have to be like a DevOps, okay? By virtue of learning most of the tools we're going to be exposing you to, you are also going to be able to function in different in-demand job areas. For instance, our area of focus, our cloud infrastructure are going to be deployed on AWS, Amazon. Globally, over 45% of the market today as we still speak. So we're on the right path. If there's Azure, you can, as a DevOps, you can be an Azure DevOps, you can be a Google DevOps, but we're going to be focusing on AWS. That's our preferred platform. So you're going to be an AWS DevOps. It also means that, right, aside getting a full job as a DevOps, you can actually also work or function as a cloud Engineer, okay, for the time being. So there's no limit to the kind of entry roles you can even get as a DevOps, okay? You're going to learn containerization. You're going to learn automation with tools like Jenkins. We're going to look at a whole lot of that. And then also automation using Kubernetes, right? You're going to learn Kubernetes, you're going to learn Terraform, you're going to learn Ansible. But the point is, before we even get to that point, you're going to be so grounded such that there's virtually nothing within the DevOps space that you want to give your time to learning that you cannot master on your own before we get to that point. Okay. So, but point is, we're going to task you guys. You're going to be hands-on. You're going to be engaging. You're not going to depend on the classes alone. We expect you to engage the materials. You're going to get them. Yes, 2 classes in a week. It also means but point is, we're also going to push to you some pre-recorded videos to at least so that you are not entirely idle. No, the conversation gets, broader.
Yeah, hi everyone. I believe that's a technical issue or network issue, so to say. It should be joining back soon. But while we wait for Michael to join back, I could see on the chat some people are asking for the details, the contact number, the WhatsApp number to message for questions or enrollment and all of that. So it's on your screen right now, so you can save the number on your phone or take a screenshot of the number. Yeah. So let me just go through while I wait for Michael to join back. The actual cost for the training again is 1,000. It's £1,199. That is for 6 months. Well, there's a discount. There's a 40% discount for people enrolling on or before the 19th of February. This cohort will be starting on the 26th of February. So if you are enrolling on or before the 19th of February, you can get 40% discount, and that will bring it down to £720 for the 6 months. This can be paid twice, and also, we can give further consideration for those, that wants to make 3 payments. That could be considered as well. Also, the benefit of attending or enrolling: you get the full training, you get to work on projects, you get interview preparation, mentorship support, UK reference will also be given as well. And, you are joining not just for the training, but because of the community that you can leverage on. We all need this community. Someone is asking for the contact number again. We all need this community to fall back on. You cannot rely solely on Michael all the time. If Michael is not available, who is going to be there for you? That is why it is important to establish this communication with other members that we have on the channel as well. Is joining back. All right, so that is what we have, and we made mention. I'll be going through the amount in naira. I think I've replied to some. After discount, the amount in naira is 800,000 naira after discount. That could be paid twice. And also, as I said earlier on, we can give room to three payments as well. But just message the number on your screen if you want to enroll. Michael, let me just make, I think Michael is back on. All right, Michael, you can continue, please. Over to you. I'll continue with my discussion after your session. All right.
Okay. Sorry about that. I had to manage some technical glitch, but it also means I'm going to quickly wrap up the conversation. But basically, the software development life cycle, that was what I was trying to illustrate. Where you plan, you code. The moment we're done planning, we go into coding, right? From coding, right, the build process. Because raw code cannot be deployed. Raw code has to be converted into what we call deployable artifacts. Okay? It means at this point, it is ready to go into the market. But we don't just push into the market. That is where testing, quality assurance, and all that comes in. We test, we release. We test, we release. Deploy and release are interchangeable, okay? Deploy and release are interchangeable, considering the fact that you are working with a pipeline. We're going to look at those concepts, but once your product is in the market, whether by virtue of the fact that you're deploying or there's a release, operation takes place. Operation takes over. Feedback from users, feedback from operations guys, but at this point, monitoring also comes into place. As the application is live, monitoring is also live. So where there are issues, where there are feedback, if it requires modification or change or updates or upgrade, planning is re-engaged. Okay, we go back to planning. And once we conclude on what we have to update, and once we conclude on what change we have to make, it means fresh code has to be written. Fresh code has to be developed. And called a deployable artifact. That is what you refer to as a build process. Build process. Build process in software development actually means converting code into a deployable package. Once it is deployable, we test it to see if it will actually deploy. We test it to see if it will actually release. And once we have a release, we have a deployment, operation takes over again, monitoring the same thing. If feedback requires, and what we're talking about can be an endless loop that is recurrent just about every other day, every other week, every other month. Yes, it happens, particularly at the early stages of a market application. There are times, yes, you actually rest as a DevOps, actually rest. But you might find yourself in that peculiar situation where the application is new and changes are required. It happens for new applications. But there's a life cycle phase of that application where, yes, everything now more or less goes into autopilot. You know, a whole lot of changes have been made and all that. But sometimes some of these things can be so regular that you're wondering, yes, you can't take that away. Which is why you're also going to understand the concept of automation, pipelines. Yes, your life can be easy if you understand all of that. So it's not all going to be manual, a whole lot of these things. So what you might just be doing most of the time is probably, where are you even? You have set up, there's a tool for every one of these phases. There's a tool you are going to set up at each one of these phases that takes care of everything automatically. You don't have to be there. There's a tool. We're going to look at those tools, okay? See, for instance, when we talk about coding, managing code, we're going to learn Git, and we're going to learn how to use GitHub for version control. When it comes to build, we're going to use Jenkins. This is build out, this is WERF, but in our own case, we're going to learn Jenkins. Testing, we're going to use SonarQube, okay? Nagios also does the same thing, okay? Release, We're going to use Jenkins also. GitLab does that, but our preferred tool for version control is GitHub. We're going to be focusing on GitHub. We're going to be using Jenkins. Okay, deploy, automated deployment. We're going to be using Amazon for infrastructure. We're also going to be using Docker, right, for container infrastructure. We're going to be using that. Then operation, we're going to be using Terraform. We're going to be using Ansible, right? Operation, automation. And the Kubernetes also, we're going to be using Kubernetes for deployment. We're going to see a whole lot of that. Then monitoring, we're going to use Elasticsearch, Prometheus, and Grafana. But we're largely going to be focusing on Prometheus and Grafana for monitoring and visualization. So there are tools we are going to learn for every stage. There are tools we are going to learn for every stage. But this just gives you an example of the entire software development lifecycle process. It is a continuous loop, a never-ending loop. But the beauty of it also is that we're going to learn automation tools that make your life easy. But getting to that point where you understand this whole process is not particularly a walk in the park, like I said. It's going to require a whole lot of commitment from you guys, and that is what we're really counting on. Okay? Accelerate flow, add to DevOps. So at this point, these are a whole lot of narratives. Let me share another screen. Maybe that will also help this conversation. The software development lifecycle. Let me share another screen. Now, this more or less takes care of everything, what we've covered so far. It takes care of everything. What I just wanted to enumerate on is this guy. Okay, let me use this simple diagram. These are developers, okay? Developers, what do? They write code. They write code. It also means that from the moment they write code, we mandate them to push it to what you call a version control system or a source code management platform. In our own case, it is GitHub. Okay, we're going to learn how to, in fact, from our very first lesson, we're going to learn how to deploy servers on the cloud. From our very first day, we start talking AWS. Yes, there's a full module for AWS. There's a full module for AWS, okay? We'll look at each and every module we're going to cover in a bit. There's a full module for AWS. Then once we have code deployed to our version control system, we now have what we call code quality analysis. We're going to test the quality of the code, okay? There's what we call code quality analysis, such that we want to be sure the quality of the code that forms the backbone of the application we want to deploy before we even deploy the application. That is where testing comes in also. The build process, we convert our code into deployable packages, and we create a backup on a platform called Nexus. We're going to look at that also. Once we have that, we push our code into live application servers. Okay, we're going to be learning how to work with AWS services, live servers on the cloud. We're going to be learning that from day one. Then monitoring comes in. Our application is live, monitoring comes in. But we also understand the fact that the moment our application is live, we're not going to be allowing users, in this case, to access our application directly. So we're going to learn how to deploy web servers that are going to act as load balancers and also manage user traffic, okay? Prevent our servers or application from vulnerabilities and attacks and man in the middle and all those kind of issues. We're going to learn a whole lot of SecOps as far as the security operations, as far as this is also concerned. But my focus here also is monitoring, okay? Monitoring with Prometheus and Grafana. Once issues are detected during monitoring, it is logged, right, and sent back to the developers. But don't forget, between logging these issues and giving developers the task, there's also the likelihood of planning. Let's not forget the other diagram. But in between all this, right, that looks very manual and all that, we're going to have a tool in between called an automation tool. And the name of our automation tool is Jenkins. Okay, it's going to be like a Maradona in this case, Okay, it's going to be like a middleman. It manages automation. It makes it provides a whole lot of hands off. Okay, there are a whole lot of other tools that also allow or also complement this automation. When we start talking about infrastructure as code, when we start talking about configuration management tools, those also help for automation. But one of the first automation tools we're going to be looking at will be Jenkins. Jenkins. Okay, so guys, please take note. So at this point, we are going to look at a few tools that we're going to be using or we're going to be covering. We're going to be looking at a few tools we are going to be covering as far as our DevOps journey is concerned. Okay, syllabus. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to share this. That's why, like Akin also mentioned, it's actually like a master class. The course itself is something that can be likened to studying at a master's level. Okay, it can be likened to that. So that is why we could no longer accommodate or at least look at it from a 4 month point of view. It's quite tasking and it requires a whole lot of focus and concentration. So we're going to look at DevOps, introduction to DevOps, introduction to Agile, waterfall methodologies, Scrum. We're gonna go deeper into those conversations. We're gonna learn Linux. Okay, we're gonna learn Linux, install, create accounts on AWS. We're gonna set up our first servers on the cloud, understand Linux directory, file, permission, security. We're gonna look at a whole lot of that. Shell scripting also, our first introduction to scripting. Okay, you're not gonna go deep into programming, but shell scripting is one of the most basic and simplest coding languages you can learn available out there. The Linux operating system is built around it, okay? But the whole idea is even your average recruiter wants to know you have some level of understanding as far as coding is concerned. We're going to look at that. Okay, shell scripting. We're going to learn commands, controls, variables, and all that. We're going to deeper. Then GitHub, version control. Version control, okay? Try to talk about that a bit. What is Git? Git is local. GitHub is virtual. Git is local, GitHub is distributed on the cloud. Okay. Then Maven. When we talk about build, the build process, this is the tool we're going to be using for build. Okay. Which means we're going to be focusing a whole lot on Java applications. We're going to be focusing a whole lot on Java applications. There are a whole lot of application languages out there. Okay. But Java is still high in demand. I think it only rivals around Python and I think JavaScript also Golang, but Java is still, just like you can rate AWS as the most in-demand cloud service provider out there, Java is still one of the most sought after programming languages. So we're going to be building with Maven, which largely focuses around Java. We're going to learn virtual machine deployment. That means any build or artifact we develop or build from Java code, we're going to learn how to practically deploy it into a live server, okay? Into a live server such that our application will see it running live. We're just giving you the idea that this class is very practical, it's very hands-on. We're going to see our application running live, okay? This is still more of a manual approach anyway. And once we're done with that, we're going to learn the web server I showed you. Users don't have to access your application directly while it is live. So once we're able to deploy live, we learn web servers for load balancing and access control. Then SonarQube is going to be our testing tool, right? It handles automated testing, checks the quality of our code, right? That is what SonarQube is. You don't want to deploy code or you don't want to deploy application built around faulty code, okay? There are conventions for coding. There are basic standards and benchmarks required for code that is used to build market applications. We're going to look at SonarQube for that purpose. Nexus is for storage, okay? AWS has an alternative service for storage also. but we're going to focus on Nexus. Jenkins, our automation tool. You see, we're already at 9. We're going to look at a whole lot of it. Automation, continuous integration, continuous delivery, and continuous deployment with Jenkins. We're going to look at all of that. Then once you can see how extensive Jenkins is. I think the minimum we have for any of these modules is about 6 hours. Some range from 8 to 12 to 18 hours. But as much as possible, we're going to cover them without taking too much time and staying within the time frame we have. Once we have Jenkins cover up, this is Jenkins, we're going to go into Docker. Okay, this will be our introduction to containerization. Containerization makes virtual deployment look like child's play. Okay, everything we did before Jenkins deploying into Tomcat will look so simple and unnecessary. Okay, but we're going to learn it. Okay, it makes your background. You can, with the approach we're taking, it means you can even claim 3-4 years experience, even when you're just living learn with pride. Okay, that's the beauty of it, because much of the skills you're going to have, very few people have it out there. So Docker for containerization, Kubernetes for container orchestration. We're going to look at that. Then also AWS is a full module. There's Ansible, configuration management. Then somebody's annotating. Then there's also AWS, which is our preferred cloud platform. It is a full module. It covers a whole lot of sub-modules, such as EC2, auto scaling, elastic block storage, elastic file storage, S3 buckets, elastic compute cloud. You can see them, EBS. We're going to cover a whole lot. We might not be teaching you AWS as if you want to go, as if you're going to write the solutions architect as exam, but at least we'll be teaching you AWS at the solutions architect level, taking mostly the required sub-module, okay? If you're going to write the solutions architect exam, we can also guide you, refer you to necessary materials that will help you achieve that. Okay, we're going to do VPCs, virtual private cloud on AWS, elastic block store, auto scaling, then identity access management on AWS. We're going to cover all of that. AWS CLI setup. Okay, we're going to do all of that. Then monitoring tools we talked about, we're going to look at briefly around New Relic. Okay, we're going to look at New Relic, but also monitoring, we're going to learn Prometheus and Grafana. Okay, infrastructure as code, we're going to play around Terraform, and we saw Ansible earlier as configuration management. Then we're also going to be pushing a whole lot of projects. In fact, our style to learning is going to be 70-80% project-based. Our style to learning is largely going to be project-based. That means for each class, we're going to focus on specific deliverables. Specific deliverables, okay? Not to bore you guys anymore, any longer than I have, but we also promised, we're going to make this session very hands-on, as simple as possible. We're going to be assuming to a large extent that a whole lot of us don't have too much as far as a background in computing is concerned, but you do need to know that if you really want to transition, it can be that easy. You are only required to put in the necessary work. Thank you again, guys, for your time and patience. I really appreciate. My name is Michael, Michael, and I am going to be your facilitator should you decide to take this journey with us. And trust me, you're adding a big feather to your cap. Okay, Aki has already done a whole lot of justice to the advantages, the leverage you have being a DevOps out there in the market, the fast-paced tech market. So you can't be wrong with this decision. I only pray the best and hope you guys make the best decision as far as this is concerned. So thank you again, once again, guys. I appreciate. Back to you, Akin.
Yeah, thanks, Michael, for that. Please, if you have any question, you can start to raise your hand now. I'll be calling you shortly. So please, if you have any question, I know there are a few questions on the chat, but if you want to talk, as I'll actually prefer that, we need, the whole essence is for us to learn together, right? So if you have any question to ask, please you can start raising your hand. I'll be calling you shortly. Just to go back, just because for people that joined late, I could see some questions asking for the contact details for enrollment. It's on your screen right now. So for enrollment, the WhatsApp number on your screen will be the best number for you to contact. If you want to talk about anything, if you have questions regarding the instrumental payment and all of that, the number on your screen will be the best number to call. Again, the price for the 6-month program is £1,199. There is currently 40% discount on it till the 19th of this month. And that will bring it down to £720. After the 19th of this month, it goes back to the original price of £1,199. You can pay twice, and also we can accommodate 3-time payment as well. We try to be the cheapest in the market, and you can do your due diligence as well, as in go elsewhere and compare the price as well. You realize that we are the cheapest. No, we are not the cheapest just because we want to give you crap. No, as I said, even after the 6 months, you are still with us. So we are not rushing you, nothing like that. We want you to get the very best, more than the as in get the value, for your money, even more than the value of what you paid for. That is our aim as well. In Naira, after discounting, Naira will be 800,000. Also, there's room for installment payment as well. But the account details is on your screen, but you can also message this number. So you can copy this number down if you have any question you want to ask me after this session, and I'll be answering them. All right, let me pause quickly and take the first question. Adeleke, David Adeleke, you can unmute and ask your question. Thanks.
Hello, Akin. Thank you very much.
Hello, David.
Yeah, thank you. My question quickly. Uh, I just arrived in the UK as a student, and like somebody asked that those of us that are in the UK, can we pay in Naira, since some of us might likely still have Naira equivalent?
Yes,
I
you
think
can.
that, yeah, that question has been answered. And number two, I want to ask, um, those of us that never had a background in programming, coding, like I did telecommunication, so I've all my life I've always been on networking, connecting this, connecting that. How easy will it be to cope with it? Though an IT background, but not much into um, program development or software development. So how easy will it be to adjust or to go along with this journey? That's my question.
Michael, over to you, please.
Who is this person again?
David.
I did.
David. Okay. Okay. David, I totally understand. I totally understand. At some point, when I started as a techie, I was into system administration, network administration. So basically, I was more of hands-on. I was terminating socket points, terminating radio equipment, and all that. So yes, technical, but not code-based. I understand your point. Technical, but not code-based. So in fact, it was quite scary trying to go into anything that required too much code and a whole lot of brain work for us then. Even where we did understand the fact that application development is more of the future of the tech market. Okay. But DevOps as a field in itself, yes, I know a lot of friends out there that tell you you don't need any business coding to be a DevOps. Yes, it is true. But why we try to teach you at least a coding language is such that because you're going to be working with code, okay, you're going to be building application. Okay, developers are going to write the code. You don't have any business writing code. That is also true as a DevOps. Developers are going to write the code. but they are going to push the code into what we call a source code management platform or a repository. In our case, it's going to be GitHub. You are now responsible for taking that code, pushing it into what we call a pipeline, which you are also going to learn how to set up, right? And have that code built into what we call an artifact or a package, a deployable package. It is that package now that is going to run on a live server as an application that users can access. But because much of your work is still going to have code as its basis, it is only imperative that at least you have some understanding of code. We're not asking that you're going to learn Python or Java or, as the case might be, but at least have some basic understanding, which is why we're leveraging on shell scripting. Shell scripting is one of the most simplest. It's about the simplest coding language out there. It uses the same syntaxes that most of the coding languages use. The variables are the same. The concepts like variables, loops, and all that are also applicable to all other coding languages. Okay, not that you're going to be learning them as if you want to go and code, but it will be interesting. It gets even interesting as you learn them that, oh, so this thing is not really as, daunting or, as rocket science based as you probably might have thought. That's the whole idea. When we get there and you really decide to give it a thought or some of your time, you get to realize that it's not so. And it's just for the purpose of knowing it. So that in case you do find yourself in a situation where you are meant to even troubleshoot code, okay? It might be an issue on your pipeline that is even code-based. Your developers might even be on holidays. And you know that if you escalate this issue, it might take maybe 24 hours or thereabouts, and you just don't want to wait. You just check it and you see that it's something, oh, maybe it's just a line of code. Maybe it's just a syntax that is missing. You just punch it in there and you're good. It's one of the reasons why some teams just want you to have basic knowledge of coding. Not that as a DevOps, you are going to be required to write code, okay?
Okay. I think that is a very clear point. So basically we just need to learn um the codes
The
for
coding
operate
language.
just for
Yes, you
operate.
need operational
Okay,
purpose. You just need to learn how code works or how code is built.
okay. But
You
you
just need
did
to
make
have an understanding of,
yes, you did make mention of Java in your explanation. Are we learning
yes.
Java or you
No,
are
you're not
talking
learning Java. We're not
all
learning
right,
Java.
all right, okay.
We're
No,
going
you
to
are
be
like
working mostly with Java code.
okay, okay, okay. I think I'm much more um uh clear now. Thank you.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thanks, David, for that. All right. Um, Adebola, you can unmute and ask your question.
Oh, sorry, Akin, sorry.
Yeah,
Uh, I will maybe on this contact, maybe I would like to ask a question in private
no
after.
problem. Yeah, just
Uh,
message me on the WhatsApp number. Yeah.
all right.
All right, thanks. All right, Adebola, you can
All
unmute
right.
yourself.
Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
want to appreciate you for this kind of concepts to liberate us from where we used to be to where we ought to be. Sometime last year, I have a contact with a friend in US, and then I joined a program like this online. And actually, it was an hands-on training, though there was a kind of consideration for people in Africa, so we pay less. So but I learned it, but I could land on Jenkins, AWS, S3 buckets, and Terraform. All those things we have mentioned, I actually work on them, but they kind of, and I'm not, I can't say I authoritatively that I know it without looking at their videos. So I want to know what because already I created the profile on LinkedIn that I'm this, I'm that. But of course, some people I had some contacts, but I could not uh, respond because I knew that from my mind I didn't know this thing without looking at the video. So what are you bringing to board to I really want to do this so that I can consolidate on what I've learned and then come out of my shell and face the world. So I want to know what you're going to bring on board so that it will help people like me master this particular course.
Thanks, Adebola. Michael, again, over to you, please.
Yeah, Adebola, okay. It's good enough. It even makes it easier that you have a background, which is fantastic. You know, there's something I said. If you leave DevOps, it will leave you. Okay. DevOps is a space you engage. DevOps is a space you engage. It means every now and then. And in fact, the best thing you can do for yourself is every other day, spend an hour. Okay. One thing we're going to be doing outside even the repository of videos that we have that we can always push to you to fill in the idle time. And these videos are project based, right? We're also going to be referring you to, yeah, I have a large community, a personal community also. From every now and then, I push videos to the alumni where I tell, okay, maybe some of them, they're asking me questions based on Terraform today or Ansible and all that. And I see a video, maybe any of my colleagues push out on our social network and all that. I share it. But the most important thing is you must constantly engage conversation. It's like being a martial artist, right? Or even for those of us that are spiritual, if you stay away from prayer for too long, you feel it yourself. If you stay away from practice, more than 80, 90% of your development, just like martial artists, which I have a firm background in, is personal training. So, but what we're going to learn in class, like I mentioned also, is within the first 1, 2, 3 months, we would have pushed you to the extent where your knowledge on this concept, your comfortability around the cloud platform is going to make it so easy that any video, any material that you come across online, even if you're not familiar with what they're teaching, right? You can easily learn it. Why? Because you're familiar with the environment, if it's Linux, you're familiar with the tool, if it's Jenkins, if it's Docker, if it's Kubernetes, you're familiar with it already. So probably what you just need to understand are the basic or specific commands they're going to be using to achieve the things they are achieving that you don't already know. It also means you have to constantly engage these contents, whether they are coming from us, whether they are coming from us customarily, or you are sourcing them from external platforms. So from the very beginning, you're going to be very deliberate as to how you engage the content. Okay, 3 months, 4 months consistently is a lot of time to enrich your conversation. I understand what you mean. And trust me, I would not lie to you, even for someone like me, because if you check my profile very well, I actually do a lot of things. I'm also a media person. I'm a licensed media practitioner. I can't put that on my profile, but I do it. It means every now and then I have clients calling me for different briefs. A lot of clients know me for different things. So sometimes I actually do get carried away, but I can tell you authoritatively that the moment which I still get, the moment probably a consultant or a team member or a colleague is seeking my opinion, or somebody wants us to have a conversation on DevOps, what I quickly do is I probably ask them, what specific area do you want us to talk about? And it doesn't change the fact that I could just spend probably 30 minutes and brush up what I know already to add at least some richness to that conversation. An average recruiter wants to know how confident you are with the conversation. I understand what you're saying. They want to know how confident you are with that conversation, talking about the tools, how most recently you just used the tool, so that at least they know that they are bringing somebody that is hands-on on board their team also. So it simply means you will understand the concept, you will know them, even if you have not used them in a while, but you still understand them. I don't know if I make any sense, Adebola.
Yeah, thanks, Michael, for that. I think he has I can't see him raising his hand up. I believe so. If not, Adebola, you can as well raise your hand again for any further clarification you might have. And just to add to that, on this process, practice make perfect, perfection. You cannot stop. That is why the training might be twice a week. The live training might be twice a week. But your journey for the duration of the program cannot and can never be restricted to twice a week. Your journey for the duration of the program needs to be everyday journey. Because at the end of the program, you want to compete with people who has been doing it in the industry for the last 2-3 years. For that to happen, you must have sacrificed your time, sweat, energy into the process. Because you cannot defend to recruiters what you don't know. And through your hard work, through your learning, you come across issues, difficulties that you have to reach out to people, maybe Michael, to help you out. The process of helping you out is when actual learning is taking place. So don't be afraid to fall. Don't be afraid to make mistakes because you learn faster as in why providing solution to that mistakes, and yeah. Let me call Franklin. You can unmute yourself and ask your question. Franklin.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome, Franklin.
Yes, I joined rather late due to circumstances beyond my control. But I want to know, is there any certification after training?
Yes, we give you, so all our courses at Learn with Pride, they are CPD accredited. CPD stands for Continuous Professional Development. So at the
Okay,
end of the 6-month program, we'll give you that certificate, which is recognized actually in over 60 countries. Right, so you'll be
okay,
getting a certificate coming from CPD, and you'll be getting our own certificate as well. So you'll be getting like two certificates, so to say.
okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks. All right, let me quickly go uh through the questions on the chat. But if you still have questions, please don't hesitate to raise your hand up and ask your question quickly. Let's do this. Let's wrap it up in the next 10-15 minutes at most. All right.
Somebody mentioned something on AWS Lambda, serverless. Yes, Sam Dami.
It's actually, let me unmute. Okay, Sam Dami, you can unmute yourself. He's the one that he just raised his hand now.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Michael, and well done. That's a very good one. So many things are actually ranting on my head because I have a lot at hand doing already. But DevOps has always been a target for my career. Number one thing is, can someone join some other time? I've already connected on the WhatsApp. Can someone join some other time apart from now? And with this price is still available. Another question is, somebody who have some level of background in Microsoft already, so I so much love anything around Microsoft like Azure, but I can hear you mention AWS more in your presentation.
Yeah.
So I know you guys are guru from what I've said, so I believe you can shape my understanding in that perspective.
Okay, you're totally correct because at the end of the day, I help migrate platforms from Azure to AWS. Same thing from AWS to Azure. That's Azure, Microsoft. But I'm not really much of an Azure DevOps, okay? I could tell you, yes, I can find my way around, Azure Active Directory, setting up servers and platforms and all that, but not for deployment purposes. I'm not so good with Azure. My background is basically AWS, okay? And for this conversation, for the next 6 months, it's still going to be AWS. Mastering AWS on its own is a whole lot of work. And yes, there are DevOps out there or cloud engineers out there that have multi-platform capabilities. It means what they just basically focus on is cloud engineering, not DevOps in full. Not that it is not possible, depending on what you choose to devote your time to. It is very possible. I've seen it, but you can only learn or focus on one per time. That's just another fact that we try to emphasize. The fact that you have a background in Azure makes it even a bit more interesting. It means you can learn the concepts via AWS, and alongside implement on Azure. As you're learning to implement with us on AWS, you can then be given your existing background on Azure, you can then go there and at the end of the day, if you have it on your CV that you are a multi-platform person, fantastic. It gives you an added advantage compared to a whole lot of other guys out there. Okay, so it's a win-win for you also.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in the area of the program like this still available another time, because it can be now, because
Yes.
it can't just be now.
Yeah. So, fortunately or unfortunately, it only runs twice a year. So this is the first batch for the year, and we are going to have the second batch after 6 months' time.
Okay.
So the second batch will be around July.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will just try and keep in touch then.
No problem, Sandana. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. All right, let me just go through the question on the chat quickly, but if you still have any question, let's try to round it up in the next 10 minutes. If you have any question, please, you can still raise your hand. Again, you can still take advantage of the 40% discount. As it is now, while on this call, 2 people already enrolled, so I think we have 12 slots left for the cohort starting on the 26th of this month. How many times is the class a week? It's twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays from 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. UK time. But as I said, you cannot restrict your learning to twice a week. Your learning has to be an everyday journey for the duration of the program. If you are really serious and you want to get something out of it, it has to be everyday journey. All right, that's to Adeleke David. What time are the classes? 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. UK time. How much is the training? The training in pounds is £1,199 for 6 months, but currently there's 40% discount on it. That will bring it down to 720. 720 can be paid. You can pay it, through instrumental payment. In naira, that is 800,000 naira after discount. Also, you can pay in installments as well. Is the training free? Unfortunately, nothing good comes free, so the training is not free. I want to join the course as soon as possible. What about the charging of the course? How much is the training? All right, I'm just scanning through how much in naira? 800,000 naira after discount. What are the 15 tools? Michael has mentioned the tools. It's on the slide. Also, you can download the course content if you go on our website at www.learnwithpride.co.uk. Under courses, go to DevOps. You can download the course content that Michael shared earlier on, and you can see all the tools on that course content as well. The recording will be made available on our YouTube channel. So if you go on YouTube and search for Learn with Pride, you'll see the video recording by tomorrow. Also, if you are on the WhatsApp group, it will be made available on the WhatsApp group as well. Michael, this is for you. How easy is for folks that doesn't have a coding background? That is from Olami Goke.
I think we already addressed that issue.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine.
Yeah, you don't necessarily need to have a coding. In fact, the way we're even going to teach you or show you how to work with shell scripting, it's going to assume you don't know coding. So, but the main objective of that module itself is just to give you an idea of how code is developed, because you're going to be working with code. Not that as a DevOps, you're going to be required to actually write and develop code. No, as a DevOps, you are not going to be required to write or develop code, but it would be nice to know that you understand code. That is the key.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Is the event in the UK? The tech conference, the tech summit is not in the UK. This is happening in Lagos, Nigeria. So if you're in Lagos, Nigeria, you can tap into this as well. You can go on our website as well for further information on how to register at www.learnwithpride.co.uk. All right. So, let's see. I'm just rushing. Will I have access to the note after the class? You can see the notes on the recording. So you have access to the recording, which you can get on our YouTube channel. Uh, is there any WhatsApp number to discuss the enrollment? It's on your screen right now. Doubt that if you are still on the call, the WhatsApp number is on your screen right now, so you can save that. Sam Dami, yeah, I think I've already answered this. Yeah, the next enrollment will be around July, August. All right, let me just go. Roger, I need to unmute you. All right, you can ask your question, Roger. You can unmute and ask your question.
Hello, good evening, all.
Yeah, good evening, Roger.
Yes, so my only question was about the CV revamp. Is it going to be an extra charge or is part of the package for the program?
CV revamp, LinkedIn optimization, and cover letter is not done by Learn with Pride, but we partner with another company that will give our students 70% discount on those three. So those three, as it is right now, you can get them for £60 after discount.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Sure.
Sorry if I didn't pronounce this right. Palens, you can unmute and ask your question.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. I am very interested about this training. First of all, sorry, I am French people, so I try to speak English.
That's
But
fine.
my question is that actually immigrate in Canada. It will be easier to follow the training here.
Yes, anybody from any part of the world can join the training. It's just a time
Because
difference.
it's about the time. It's about the hour.
Yeah, so it will be in the afternoon for you. I think we are 6 hours. Is it 6 hours or 8 hours different? So the 7:30 p.m. UK time will be
Yeah,
around maybe 1:30 or 2:30 for you there.
7 p.m. here actually is 11:30
11:30.
p.m. Yes.
What's the time over there now?
Actually, we have 2:30 p.m.
2:30 p.m. So the training will be 7:30. So the training will be 12:30 p.m.
Yeah, exactly. 12:30.
Yeah. So it will be
Okay.
12:30 p.m. Most
And
sessions are
about
recorded as well.
okay. And about the payment, how I will do? How
Yeah.
can I do about the payment?
Yes. Please message me on the WhatsApp number. A payment link will be sent to you and you can use your card to make the payment.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
am in Edmonton actually, so I
Yeah,
think
that's
to stay here. Oh,
yeah. Yeah. Just message me on the WhatsApp number. A payment link will be sent to you and you can use either your debit or credit card to make the payment.
okay. You say that in the past it's possible to do the payment 3 times or 2
Yes.
times. Okay.
Yeah, 3. We can accommodate 3.
Accommodate 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you. See you next time.
You're welcome. Thanks, William. All right, I think that is it from us. Thanks, everyone. Again, just to go through the important details. The start date for the course will be the 26th of February. That'll be on a Monday. The 40% discount is available till the 19th. From the 20th, it's going to go back to the original price. So you can tap into the, invest in yourself, and I can assure you, you reap the reward of it, after the 6 or 7 months. So that's the start date. As it is now, I said only 12 slots is remaining. 2 is taken already. And also the next cohort after this one will be around July, August this year, because we only run it twice a year anyway. Which other important details for payment for those that wants to make bank transfer, Nigeria and UK, this is the bank details. For any questions and enrollment purpose, this is the number on your screen, and you can message us on that as well. And for those that want to attend the tech conference in Nigeria in April, please go on our website and you read more about it. Register and you will see us live in April as well. Any final question from anyone before we call it a day? No question. So thanks everyone for your time tonight. I hope we've been able to learn one thing or the other on this session. We hope to see you on the journey so that we can, we can walk the walk together, and we can, we can make the change. We can transition, we can go on the journey together and make it happen. So thanks everyone. Have a very good night rest. The video will be made available by tomorrow on our YouTube channel. So we'll see you on the journey. Thanks, and thanks. Have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.